Now, before the break, we were talking about nuking up of Iran and how awful that would be. Let's backpedal a little bit. Here in Alaska, one of the things that we experienced was racial groups with a great deal of tension. We had the Eskimos, the Indians, the Alutiiq people, wars since before there were pyramids in your part of the country. Our folks, the last shots, for example, in the war between the Indians and the Eskimos, I understand were fought in the 1930s, the late 30s. But somehow, recently, within our lifespans, all have come together in peace,
Right.
with no war. Certainly not everybody agrees on everything, but they were not a conquered people, they were not at gunpoint. Everyone sat down and realized, if we work together for Alaska, life will be much better than us fighting amongst ourselves. At one point, does your region realize that? Because if you guys did and pulled together and respected each people's differences, life would be pretty sweet to be living where you're at.
Well, we have great weather, so I agree. And I think we did have success in the past. Israel, for example, we signed peace agreements with Jordan and Egypt. They hold. Those borders are stable. Those relationships are stable. I think that we can do it with other countries in the region. But at the end of the day, I think it's the same case as Alaska. There's leadership, and leadership has to lead. The question is, leadership leading where? Is it leading to war, or is it leading for peace? So I think that's the question that is really important, which is who is the leadership and what are their purposes. If the purpose of the Iranian leadership, for example, is to conquer, is to expand, is to spread the revolution.
They've got their empire building going. That doesn't really work to stability in the region.
Correct. So today what we have is tensions between very old concepts and beliefs that were in the Middle East before 100 years ago. Sunnis and Shiites fighting each other. For 100 years, that was quiet. Tribes fighting each other, like in Libya. Libya today is a tribal war. So for many decades, inside Libya was quiet because they rounded themselves around a concept which is the nation state. But as the nation states are crumbling in the Middle East, old rivalries are returning. And that's what we're witnessing today.
That's really unfortunate because I've noticed, particularly in Israel, you guys have a real knack for innovation. I have seen all kinds of really great ideas percolate that have been world-class and cutting edge in things like medicine, for example, where you're just like, who on earth invented that? Oh, it's coming out of Israel. Why don't we have more? Oh, I know, because you guys are too busy fighting instead of inventing things.
Well, I think that some of the fighting, we need to be innovative about how we fight because we're overwhelmed by the numbers of our opponents. So
you seem to be surrounded on all sides.
So yeah, it is true. But some of the innovation does come from the need to protect yourself. So there are a lot of technologies that we converted from military purpose to peaceful purposes.
But if you could focus all of your energy on that, what would come out of there would be amazing.
True. If we could divert resources to science, innovation, universities, programs to teach children, not just our children, but those who are our neighbors, I'm sure we can do much better. But I'm proud of what we have achieved so far.
I've noticed as well that, this is a thing that my friends who are Israeli lovers in Alaska, I give them a hard time. You guys are very generous. Generous to the point where I think, this is Dorene speaking, it's to your detriment. If I was to go to war for 6 days and conquer a bunch of territory, I would keep it. You guys gave most of it back.
Well, we are offering it back for peace because peace is a central concept in our being, in our religion, in our culture. So we are willing to sacrifice a lot for a simple thing, to live in peace. I think that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, these are values that we both share, not always shared by our neighbors. Some of our neighbors, they don't care about those values. They care about honor, And when honor is the most important thing, then you don't compromise.
We like to call it pride.
Well, pride is something, I think, different. I'm talking about a driver, a motive that can cause you to act in a different way that we do. For example, honor killing. You're willing to kill a member of your family for the clan's honor. That's not pride.
Yeah,
that's something different.
That's a craziness, yeah.
And it's the same thing when it comes to others. You know, here we say the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Mm-hmm.
That concept doesn't exist there. Over there is my father is more important than my brother is more important than my cousin is more important than my neighbor, meaning we can never expect to be their brothers. We will always be that neighbor. And when there is tensions between one party and us, even if it's against the interest of another country or another group over there, they'll never support us, even if they think that we are right, because it's the relationship, it's the kinship, which drives a lot of the, and I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying it's different.
It's very foreign.
It's different.
We got to take another commercial break. Stick with us, we'll be right back in just a moment.